Hey guys, welcome back into the garage. Today we are upgrading the Fiat with some brake upgrades. We got some drilled and slotted rotors, very excited about those. We got some carbon ceramic pads from Power Stop. So this is supposed to be a great little kit. It cost me right around 200 bucks and should be a nice little upgrade. Let's get started. Alright guys, so first things first is we want to loosen up the lug nuts on our wheels. Now, for those of you who have your standard lug nuts on your Fiat 500 Abarth, it is a 17mm wrench. For me, I've got a, one of these socket keys here, and it is a 19mm. I like to use a nice big ratchet or a breaker bar. We're just going to break them loose. We're not going to take the lug nuts all the way off. We just want them to be loose, so when the wheel's off the ground and there's no resistance, they can just come right off, no problem. And that's all I want to do, just crack it loose. Okay, so now once those are loose, floor jack, a couple of jack stands, let's get her up, get the wheels off.
Alright, so first thing you want to do is get your jack underneath here. Make sure you're jacking from a safe point, either frame rail or pinch weld. We're going to go ahead and get her up in the air. Once you got the car all the way up in the air, we're going to place a jack stand underneath it, and make sure you're also in a good spot for your jack stand. Frame rail, subframe, pinch weld. If you're not sure, always look it up. It's always better to be cautious. Once you do get the jack stand underneath there, lower it down nice and slow. Make sure you got enough clearance under the tire. Here we go.
Okay, so I just want to show you guys real quick. So here's my old rotors. It's a nice big lip, and these are all screwed up. Here's my old pads. They are gone. They're dead. That'd be the noise that I was hearing. And here's my new stuff. Nice little slice there, nice cross hatching on there. Nice thick pad from Power Stop. Super excited about this. Should be a good kit.
Alright, so now we're going to gather our tools, and I need a few various sizes to do this. You can see I got some pliers and things there as well. We're going to start by loosening the back of the caliper slides here. And I believe those were 13mm. I used a ratcheting wrench. They came out pretty easily. Oh, there goes my wrench. I always like to set them down and try and keep note of which one went where. One in the top, one in the bottom. So I put them back in the right spots. Once those are loose, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pry bar here. And we're just going to slowly but surely pry this caliper off of the pads and off of the rotors. Now my pads, as you can see, were super thin. And so these were a little bit tighter than maybe yours will be. But just go a little bit at a time, in the middle, on the top, and on the bottom. Eventually it'll just pop right out of there. And there we go. So I just kind of set it off to the side here, and then what you really want to do is grab a bungee cord like this. Ta-da! And I just hooked it up to the spring at the top there. So I went to the spring, we went around the caliper here, and we just wanted to suspend it up out of the way. We didn't want any damage to happen to the brake line, and keep it out of my way while I'm working. Once that's out of there, I just go ahead and pull the pads. They slide right out. Front pad, back pad, and then pop the hardware out. Now the kit came with brand new hardware. If yours doesn't, leave the hardware in. Mine did. The slides in the back just happen to pull right out just like that, as you can see me doing there. And then we're going to go ahead and take the caliper bracket off. And I believe that was a 19mm. I got this nice breaker bar ratchet combination here. But if you have to, just go ahead and use a regular breaker bar just to break them loose. And then grab yourself a ratchet that's an appropriate size for these bolts. Now, they weren't too bad, but the space I have there is kind of tight. And switch to the ratchet, pop them right off. Whoop, hang on to that one. And boom, you're done. All right, now these little studs pop right off of here, though I should have probably done these while the caliper was still on. These little studs hold the rotor in place as well as help you line up the wheel for your wheel studs. So that's nice. As you can see, it spins like that. If you can't get them off, having the caliper on and having somebody step on the brake pedal is the easiest way to do it. Or in the rears, using the e-brake or handbrake. And I needed to use my hammer, just a little couple taps, one to the left, one to the right, and boom, that old cruddy rotor comes right off. No problem. Fresh new rotor going on. And always make sure they're rotating towards the front of the vehicle when you have drilled and slotted rotors. I want to say these were like a 12 mil. They don't need to go on very tight, but they do help line up the rotor and hold it in place nicely while you're reinstalling your caliper bracket. Tighten the caliper bracket bolts up. And then we're going to go ahead and pop in our new hardware. Ooh, shiny. And it was a great kit. Everything came complete. So it was really nice to be able to replace every portion of this braking system all at once. Pads slide in. It's always nice to dive that front end first, and then they just pop right into place. And those nice little metal clips hold it in. Once those are in place, we're going to go ahead and replace the rubber boots and rubber pieces on our caliper slides here, and make sure those get a nice little bit of lubricant as well. Oh, there's a little rubber cap there. I put some lubricant on. Then we put the rubber sleeve on, and we just use the rubber sleeve to spread that lubricant around. Make sure everything stays nice and lubricated, sliding well and braking appropriately. Now I'm going to use my piston compressor to compress the caliper all the way back to make sure it'll fit over the pads. If you don't have one of these, a regular seat clamp will work. As you can see, I've used an old brake pad in order to help me with the situation. And then what we're going to do is slide it on nice and easy. As you can see, it gets caught on the rubber pieces, and you're going to have to push those back a little bit here and there. Well, once they get lined up, just go ahead and put the slide bolts back in. Tighten those guys down. And boom, you're done. Now we move on to the back. As you can see, I had to do the studs in the back as well. Same exact process. So we're taking off the slide bolts here. Now I will say a ratcheting wrench is definitely needed for these back calipers, as you do run out of space very quickly. Okay, so you can see right here that that slide is spinning. This is where the pliers come in. We're going to hold the sleeve of the slide. Now there's a metal piece you grab onto. Don't grab onto the rubber. There's a metal piece there that makes you grab onto it, and then bang, comes right off. Same on the bottom. As you can see there, the metal piece I'm grabbing onto, not the rubber boot. So keep that in mind while you're doing it. Now once again, once those are loose, we're just going to go ahead and pry that off with our pry bar. Nice and easy, a little bit at a time. Top, bottom, middle, middle, top, bottom. Just a little bit here and a little bit there. It comes right off. Now these ones, I was able just to swing around using the e-brake cables holding them in place. They're nice and out of the way, and nothing seemed to be damaged. So we're just going to go ahead and pop our rear pads out. You can see my rear pads were a little bit better. Same thing, the slides just pull right out of here. We want to make note of where they go. And here's where you really need your ratcheting wrenches. The bolts for this caliper bracket are very, very tight and hard to get at. But once those are removed, your caliper bracket comes right off, and the rear rotor slid right off. I didn't need to use a hammer that time. Once again, making sure that the new drilled and slotted rotors are rotating towards the front of the car. We're going to put on our studs, and those just have to go on just kind of hand tight, just a little extra tap there. As you can see how tight that space is. So I like to put the bolt in first, slide it back because it's pretty much being held in place, and then I can kind of manipulate the caliper bracket around there and give myself as much space as possible in order to do this job. Once it's all lined up, though, we're going to go ahead and tighten these down. We're going to put in our new hardware there. Now, these ones are single piece, whereas the front ones were a 4-piece, so you only have 2 pieces there. And they are a little bit tight, and they should be. Once those are on, we're going to put our brake pads in, remembering that the squeaker goes in the back. You'll see the pad that had that little arm there. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to replace the rubber boots and the rubber cap here. Loop these up. And then we'll reinstall them. They just slide right in. this is a little tight going in. I just had to be rotated a little bit. I pull it back out. Whoop, there it goes. Okay, so now we're doing the rear calipers. As you can see, I'm using a pair of needle nose pliers to twist these. Now, I struggled with these a little bit. There is a specialty socket. I did have to compress it and then spin it and compress it and spin it. You can use needle nose pliers like this. You can also use channel lock pliers and grab it to the side, although I would recommend not doing that if you can avoid it. But once you finally get it all compressed, once again I had to hold those slides. Just go ahead and put the caliper on. We're going to tighten up our slide bolts. Good and tight. And that's it, man. It's done. Put our wheels back on.
Alright guys, so once you get your wheels and tires back on, make sure you torque your lug nuts down to 90 foot-pounds. And then, pump up your brake pedal before starting the car back up. Get everything stiff again, and make sure your handbrake is functional. And you're ready to go. It's a pretty easy install. It did take a little bit of time, especially with those rear calipers. But I gotta say, overall, I really enjoyed the installation, and so far I'm enjoying the upgrade. Be sure to stay tuned, as I will be doing a complete review on the Power Stop brake upgrade kit for my Fiat 500 Abarth. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, please. And if you want to follow me over on the Instagram, at Riding with Rob, there's also at Outlaws. Make sure you join us on the Facebook group. A lot of fun stuff going on there as well, as our Monday night lives. So guys, thank you so much for joining me here in the garage, and tune in next time, huh?